Okay, so our today's topic is how we will write code in Salesforce, right? So we discussed in the last class what is
हेलो।
Apex, why we need it.
हाँ जी, क्या कर रहे हो?
Rohit, can you go on mute, please? Okay, so in last class we discussed about what is Apex and why we need it, and today we will discuss how we will write code in Salesforce, right? So we understand now the code is needed if you need complex implementation in Salesforce, if you need to perform complex transactions, complex business logic, we have to write code because that cannot be fulfilled using our flow. Okay, so we'll discuss how we will write code. So for code, we just need a IDE, integrated development environment, right? So for that, we have developer console for our initial development. We will use developer consoles to open developer console. You can simply click on this gear icon, and here we have an option of developer console. So if you will click on this developer console, it will open, but it will open as in pop-up or in another window. So what you can do is you can simply copy the URL from the developer console and close it, right? And you can paste it into another tab so that it will be comfortable open in another tab. I have already some code in my org, so I'm deleting it. So this is how you can open developer console, and we will write our code in developer console only. Later on, we will switch on VS Code for LWC. Okay. Any question till now?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. So to write code, we need a container because you cannot write code anywhere, right? So we need a container, and for us in Salesforce, and not only in Salesforce Apex, we have in every other language like Java, .NET, I mean C# specifically in .NET, we need a container, and that we have in the name of class, right? So you can have a bookish definition for class, like it is a blueprint or whatever you want to call it, but I generally call it in my terms as container. So class is nothing, just a container of data members and member methods, right? So how you can write a class? Just to write a class, you need a few things. Let me just show you on that notepad. So the syntax of writing a class is you just need an access specifier first. Just forget about the spellings. And then we have a keyword called class, and then class name, whatever the name you want to put here. And then if you are inheriting or implementing an interface, then this syntax will further go for that. But we are not going to discuss this in this class. We'll discuss it further when we will actually discuss inheritance and interfaces. But this is the syntax. So, and then we have an starting and ending scope of the class in terms of curly braces, right? So this is how you can write a class in Apex. Access specifier for class, we have only two type of access specifier. One is public, and second one is global. So we have only two type of Apex class access specifier. But for methods, it will be added as an private and protected. We'll discuss private and protected when we will actually discuss data members, but for class we have only two. So class can only be either public or global. So what is the meaning of public? Public means this class can be accessible within the same org, right? So you can extend or you can inherit a class in any other class in the entire org, or you can directly create an object of the class in any place of the org, right? So public is basically used for that, and global, if you are creating any integration or any web service, then you will use that class outside of your Salesforce org in any other platform as a web service. So you have to make your class as global so that it can be used outside of your class. Okay, is it clear to everyone? So basically, in the place of access specifier, either it will be public or global. But if you are not creating any web service, or you think that your class will only be for this org, then you will use public. So the syntax will be public class and the class name. Class name can be anything based on your project. So let's say I will use June batch 1, 2, 3, so that we will understand like this class is created for this batch only, right? So name can be anything. You can create based on your requirement, and then you can write your data members or data type or variables here, and member methods here, method inside the class. So for me, class is just a container, nothing else. And you cannot directly use a class, right? So you have to create an object. That's a concept of reusability, or you can say object oriented programming. So you need to create an object of the class. So we'll discuss that. Let's just create our first class, and then we will discuss why we need an object, and where we store our class at the time of compiling it or creating it. So I'm just minimizing this. Any question till now from anyone? Guys, if you have any question in your mind, please ask. Okay, I'm minimizing it. So in order to create a class, I mean, you don't have to write the entire syntax. The Salesforce will do the things for you. So you just need to go to files here in developer console, and you can click on new, and you can see Apex class, Apex trigger, Visual Force page, everything you can create directly from here, right? So I can create an Apex class directly from here. You can click here, and you can write your class name, and it will do the rest for you. So I'm just writing our class name as June batch, right? See here, it has already added access specifier as public, because it thinks that this class will only be used for this org, but you can change it if you want. And then the class as an keyword and the name of the class, and these are the two curly braces that we use, right? But this, whenever you will save this class, you have to press Control S, or you need to click on File and just hit Save, and this class will be saved and will be available for use. But you have currently we don't have anything in this class, so there is no logic in this class. But if still you want to use it, you have to click on Save, and it is saved now. And if you need to use it, you have to create an object of this class. Without that, you cannot use this class or its data members or member methods. So why we need to create an object of the class? We'll discuss that now. Anyone have any idea about it? No? Okay.
To
Let me
store
show you.
data.
Yeah, but
to create a memory for that class.
Yes, to create a
method.
memory for that. Yes, but yeah, that's correct, Arun. So let me explain you in detail how it happened in the background. So whenever you create a class, right? Just listen it carefully. It is very important, right? So whenever you create a class and you will hit save, the class will go for compilation. Compilation is what? So every language, either it is programming or a speaking language, has some syntax. Like we have English grammar, Hindi grammar, or every language has its own syntax, right? Similarly, in programming also, we have some set of rules that we need to follow if we are writing any programming, if we are writing any code, right? Make sense? Okay, so if you are writing code, those set of rules need to be checked, right? So if your code is actually following those rules or not, right? If you are not following, your code will not save. If you are following those rules, doesn't matter if your code will run or not. That won't matter. But syntactically, it's true, right? It should be true. So your whatever you are writing in as in code, that should follow the language rule, right? So there is a compiler at time of saving a class. Your compiler will run, and if compiler will not find any error, your class will be saved in heap. or you can say unmanaged stack or whatever you want to say. There is a memory on the server that we call it as heap, right? So heap is what? Heap is just a bulk memory allocation. Heap is nothing, just a bulk memory allocation, and there is not a particular address for anything. Like it is like a warehouse, right? You are getting something, you are storing it into a warehouse, but if you need to find it, you don't have any address for the thing, right? Warehouse or godam, if whatever you want to understand it, right? So heap is just nothing, just a warehouse in which you will store things, but there is no particular place for anything, right? Some whatever is coming in any order, that will be stored in the warehouse. So if you need to use, so let's say you have 1,000 of classes in your org and all the classes are stored in a heap, right? So how will you retrieve those classes for use, right? There is no address for that. So it is like that. If I will ask you to send me some gift, right? Then you need my address for that, right? Without address, where will you send, right? Or if I will ask you to pick something from my house, then at least you need my address. Without that, you cannot pick anything. Similarly, in heap, there is no address, right? For address, what we need to do is, let me see if I can open or draw it. I can open a whiteboard here. Oh, I think some proxy issues. Okay, no issues. Okay, so heap is a bulk memory allocation, so it stores things without any address. So in order to use anything, you need to get it into your retail shop, right? So retail shop is what? Retail shop is your managed stack, right? Or managed heap, whatever you want to say it, right? So for that, you need to create an object. So this class will have many things in it, like let's say a lot of methods, a lot of variables, and everything you need to use, and for that you need to create an object of that class. So the syntax to create an object is your class name. First we need your class name. So class name is what? June batch. And then we need a variable. So class name is a data type. So let's say obj is the variable. Here obj is the variable of which type? It should be a class type, because what we are doing, we are shifting something to another location. So we are just shifting class into another location, that is a stack, or creating a copy of the class in the stack. So if you are allocating a memory, then you need a similar kind of variable. So obj is what? Obj is type of June batch, right? And what we are doing is we are just allocating a new memory. So new keyword will actually allocate a new memory, and memory will be assigned to obj, right? So obj will have the entire class, and obj is what? Class type, because we are storing class in a stack, right? So obj is type of class, and we have new, and this is the constructor. We will discuss what is constructor. So this is our constructor, just to initialize the things in the stack memory. So we'll discuss later on what is constructor, after we will discuss our data members. So this is the syntax of creating an object. So basically what it will do is it will create a memory location. So let's say there is a memory location 0001 in a stack, and 001 is actually pointing towards obj. And obj is what? Obj is actually having the entire class in it, right? So you can use class members or class member methods by just using a dot against your obj. So obj dot, and you can access whatever we have in the class that is accessible outside of the class. Any question?
Nice, sir.
So what
So
is
you can
June
have,
batch in starting before object?
okay, June batch is the class name, right? So you need to declare a variable, right?
Okay.
So what we are doing here, currently your class is located where? In the heap, unmanaged heap, right? We need to switch into a managed heap so that we can have an address or we can access its data member or member methods, right? For that, what we need to do is we need to assign a new memory location. So let's say if you are living into a society flat and you need to switch from one flat to another, so your luggage will need a similar kind of storage like packers and movers or something like that. So similarly, if we are moving our class into another or creating a copy of class into another location in the another memory location, then we need a variable in which we will store it. So the new location will need a storage, right? So and that storage should be the same type, the type of data we are going to store. So we are going to store a class, so we need a variable that is actually a type of class only. So June batch is a type, a class, and obj is the variable of June batch. And equal to new, it is actually allocating a new memory, and June batch, this is the constructor that will be called at time of using your object, at time of creating the object of the class, right? So you can create as many variable, as many copy of your class. Let's say if I will use obj1 another, so it will create new memory for each and every. So obj1, obj2, obj3. So these are the copy of the classes, right? So whatever you will store, let's say we have a variable here, integer a. We'll discuss what is integer, right? So if I will assign obj dot a is equals to 5 here, right? And here obj obj1 dot a is equals to 10, and here if I will assign obj2 dot a is equals to 15, right? And here I will assign obj3 dot a equal to 20. So basically all these values will be assigned to a, right? But a is only one, and that is in the class. But whenever we are creating or allocating a new memory for June batch, it is actually giving new memory for each and everything. For this one, there will be a new memory location, and for this one also we have new memory. For this one also we have new memory. For this one also we have new memory. So when we will call obj.a, it will return 5. When we will print obj1.a, it will return 10. obj2.a, it will return 15. obj3.a, it will return 20, because we have assigned it to new memory location, because obj1.a will be stored in a new memory location, and obj dot a equal to 5 will be stored in a different memory location. Similarly for obj2 and obj3, right? So there will be 4 different memory location for June batch, and all the values related to these data members of the June batch will be stored on different memory locations. So this is called reusability. So single class will be used for different values here. Single data members in the June batch class will store different values, because we have different replica on different memory locations here. I hope it is clear now. Any question from anyone? Let's just print it, so you will get more idea. Let me just save it. So you should see saving. It should show star as soon as it will be saved. The star will not visible here, right? So if you want to print anything, you just need to use a syntax called System.debug. System.debug is actually used to print something. So if you guys have IT background, if you have worked on different languages, I think println was used in C, and similarly in other language we have different syntax to print anything. So here you can print value of A in obj is. So basically you have to concatenate. So I'm just printing the value of obj.a here. Same thing we will use for others, and we'll print it later on. obj1, obj2, obj3. So this is how you can print, or if you want to run this entire code, you can simply click on this execute button. This code will run and will give you the output, right? So I'm just going to click on this button and it will open the logs, and then we will need to find system.debug statement from the logs to see what is actually printed. So I'm just clicking on this execute button. Okay, variable is not visible, June batch. Actually, if we are not assigning any access specifier here, so it will be considered as a private, and private means like it won't be able to use outside of the class, so we have to make it public. Then only we will able to assign the values to it. So I'm just saving it again, and now you can hit execute. It won't show any error. Okay, so we have clicked on execute, and now the logs are visible. So these logs are very big, right? So you will not be able to find the things. You have to look at it very carefully, line by line. So there is an option here. So if you will click on this debug only checkbox, it will only show you debug statement that you have used to print, right? So I'm just clicking on this, and it will filter it out for you. So you can see here, whatever you have assigned to different June batch object, it is printing the same values for you. So if you want to compare, you can compare here. So what it means, this obj is stored on a different location, obj1 is stored on a different location, obj2 is on a different, and obj3 similarly on a different location. So that is why it is keeping the value of a differently, otherwise it should have override. Makes sense to everyone? Or if you have any question, you can shout. So clear the concept of class and object? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move ahead then. And then we have class data members. So I'm just removing it. We have different type of class data members. So you can create variables. So again, if you want to store different type of value, you have to create different type of variables, right? So those variables will actually store values, but you have to define, as it is a strongly typed language, you have to define the data type of the variable. So how many type of data types we have in Apex, right? So firstly, we have primitive data types provided by Apex. So we have primitive data types. So what all are the primitive data types we have in, or not only in Apex, in any other language? Can anyone explain? Okay, so we have integer as a primitive data type. Integer will actually store number values, right? And then we have double. Then we'll have long. Double will store the decimal. We have long. Long will store longer value. It is also integer only. Then we have date. and then date will store date only, and we have date time. Date time will store date along with time, and then we have string. We don't have char in Salesforce, so us if it is a single word or a single character or a single word or a sentence, everything will be stored in a string only. And then we have ID as a data type. ID is basically used for record IDs. So in Salesforce, every record has its own ID. So if you want to store ID of a record, then we have a primitive data type called ID. And then we have Boolean, right? So these are the primitive data types we have. Any question? And then along with the primitive data type, we have as object as a data type. So Salesforce object can also be used as a data type, right? Then we have what else? Then we have collections. Collection will be defined as list, comma set, comma map, and we have also arrays, right? So these are the data type we have in Salesforce. We can discuss one by one, and we also have enums, class, object, and interface also, but I'm not going to discuss those right now. We'll discuss one by one what all are these. We in the primitive data type we have blob also, so we'll discuss blob. What else if I am missing anything? We have decimal also. Before double we have decimal also. I think that's it. Our time is also, so along with date time, there is an data type is time also, and decimal will become here. So these are the data type we have, right? So let's discuss each one of these one by one. What all are these? So let's start with integer. So integer is it is what? Let me just go ahead and just write something. We'll write it here. So integer is our first data type, right? So integer is what? It is a 32-bit number, and it doesn't include decimal point. It is a 32-bit number, and it doesn't include decimal point. Clear, guys? Integer is what? Integer is 32-bit number that doesn't include a decimal point, and integer have a minimum value. Let me show you the minimum and maximum of value. If I remember that, it is minus 2147 3648. This is the minimum value that it can have, and what will be the max we'll discuss. So this is the minimum value you can have, and maximum value will be, so instead of 648 we will have 647. That's it. Everything will remain same, right? So this is the maximum value that you can store, and if you want to store more values in it, then instead of integer, you have to use long, right? Any question on integer? How you can declare an integer variable? So you can declare is, let's say, integer, and variable name, let's say I. We have discussed it as an, and you can assign a value. Let's say it is 1. So the value should be minimum min this and max this. Should not be minus. Okay. Any question, guys, or should I go ahead?
But do we have short also in Salesforce?
No, we don't have short in Salesforce.
Hmm.
Okay, let's move with long. Long as integer is a 32-bit, long is a 64-bit number, and it also doesn't include a decimal, right? It is a 64-bit number, and it also doesn't include any decimal, right? So, and the value of long is, the minimum value of long is minus 2 to power. I'm just writing power because it won't allow me to write it here. So 2 to power 63. This is the minimum value for long, and maximum value of long is 2 to power 63 minus 1. Maximum value of 2 to power 63 minus 1. This is the maximum value we have in long, right? And then we have decimal. Decimal we used uh, just to include decimal points. So decimal is nothing, just decimal is just a number that can include decimal point. That can include decimal point. Decimal is nothing, just an arbitrary precision number. Let's say if you have a currency or anything, that will automatically be assigned to the type decimal, right? And then we have double. Double, it is again, decimal is a 32-bit, so double is a 64-bit number that include a decimal point. Again, it is like long, but it just include decimal point. Right? You can declare long again the same. I mean, you can declare like this, long, and variable name, let's say I is equals to, and you can assign the value here. And decimal, again, you can use decimal here, decimal, and let's say I is equals to 1.2 or whatever value you want to assign, 1.3, whatever you want to assign. Similarly, you can use for double. I is equals to 5.6666, whatever you want to assign. So this is decimal. Another value we have is date, right? So date is nothing, just you can store any date, right? There, date is also I know we have a date class also, that the value that you want to define, let's say it has some method if you want to retrieve today's date, or if you want to add any integer number to our date, so that you can retrieve the date after adding those number, and similar kind of things. So we will discuss date in detail, but date is nothing, a value that indicates a particular day, right? So we don't have time here. Date value contain no information about time. It always create the date value, and it has a system static method. We will discuss it, what is static and what is a method. So we'll discuss. But you can also subtract or add any value to the date value, and it will return the value by addition or subtraction, that thing. Similarly, we have date time. Uh, it actually indicate a particular day and time, such as timestamp. And again, it is a static method because date is a class and date time is also similar to that. We'll discuss it, but it always return day with the time, right? So that is our date time. We have similarly time. It only returns a value that indicates a particular time. So it won't give you the information about day. It will give you the information about time only. And then we have our most important string, right? Um, it actually store any set of characters in single quotes. So let me just type it here, string. So you can simply declare a variable, string variable like this. You can use string as a keyword, and let's say if you want to assign any value, so it can be in a single quotes. Whatever you will pass in the single quotes, it will be treated as a string. Doesn't matter if it is a number or a character or a word, whatever you want to. If the variable type is a string, and if you are assigning the value into single quotes, then it will be treated as a string only. Okay, so the value of string, I mean the size of the value of the string actually governed by the heap size limit, and there is no limit of the string variable size, but it is actually governed by the heap size limit. So there is a governor limit we have. So we'll discuss what is heap size limit later on, but it is actually used by um, heap size limit only. Any question? So we can have escape sequence for you know for a string, and you can use also comparison operators for let's say if you want to know about escape sequence. Escape sequences for a string. Then we have uh, backspace. So for backspace we have /b. This will be called as backspace. And then we have another escape sequence is for tab. Write this one. I won't write the tab as in here. And if we want to need a line feed, then we will have /n. If you want form feed, then we have /f. And what else we have? If you want a carriage return, we have /r. And if you need space, then we have s. For double quote escaping, we have this, right? And then what? For single quote, we have this one. So these are the escape sequences we have. Comparison operator for a string is for strings is so it is similarly to Java. So you have double equal to for comparison, not equal to, sorry, not equal to, and then we have less than. And we have less than equals to, greater than, and greater than equal to, similar. So these are the these are the things. So string also a class here, so it has some method also. So and we will discuss some methods here. I can tell you some method contains and ends with, and there are multiple methods. So I will share one document, or as soon as our batch will progress, we will use some string method. It has lot of methods, right? So we can work using methods on in in Salesforce and on a string, and just to get the string after that. So we have different methods. You can simply type on Google to get string methods. So you can see here string class in Apex. You can see here string is a class, or you can open the first. You can see string methods, abbreviate, max width, return an abbreviated version of the string of the specified length, and with ellipsis appended in the current string is no longer. So we have many methods. Capitalize, center. Center is one of the useful. Center with multiple parameters. Char at index. So you can simply it will simply return the character on a particular index. Code point at, code point before. So there are multiple methods. If you will scroll it down, you can see a lot of methods. Index method is very useful. Index of substrings, index of substring on, with a particular index with different parameter, index of any substring. So we have different methods. So as soon as our batch will progress, we'll use some of them, not all of them, but we'll definitely use some of these methods. Okay, so this is a string, and then we have another. There is one more that is object. Let me use object also, a primitive data type we have. So object is what? So object will store the as object, the type of object. So let's say we have account, opportunity, similar kind of thing, then we will use as object, right? So that is the thing. And then id, and id basically will store the 18 character id or 15 character id we have for a record. So if you will open a record here in Salesforce, let me show you something. If I will go to sales, any record in any object, let's see if there will be any record. So if you will open a record, you can see this, there is an id of a record, and it is a unique id for every record. So if you will open different record, it is an 18 digit id that will be opened in the url, right? So you can simply identify this record along with this id. If I will copy here, and if I will go somewhere else, um, and I want to simply open that record, the earlier record that I have used, I can simply paste this ID, and if I will hit enter, then it will return the same tag detail record. So this is a unique ID that will give you the related record. So we have, if you want to store any record uh, ID, then you can use this ID variable, right? Blob is basically used for bigger number of like document or collection of binary data. Um, then you can use blob. So it is not very common, but we can also have blob. Boolean, you are already aware. It can have 3 values. So let me just write it down here. It is the important one. Boolean. It can have 3 values here. True can be the first value, false second type of value, and it can also have null. So if your variable is undefined, it can also have null. So you can declare a variable is like boolean is winner equals to true, so, or false, or if you want to assign any value, it will return null. So these are the primitive data types we have in Apex. Tomorrow we will discuss our other data types like collections and other data types. Any question till now? I don't want to make this class long. as we are already reaching 1 hour. So if you have any question, you can ping me directly on
So
WhatsApp, or
we have
you can.
15 character and 18 characters ID. So what is the
Yes,
difference?
18 character is basically, if you will retrieve it directly from the database, it will be 18 character. And if you so there are 3 character appended um, in a 15 character digit in
Mhm.
Salesforce by database itself.
Okay.
So you can use both. I mean, um, you can use both. There is no actual thing. So it is 18 character ID is actually case insensitive. It actually add 3 character to checks as an suffix, and your 15 character ID is case sensitive, but there is no actual difference in that. Okay, so if you will use 18 character, you have to use it as it is. But if you are using 15 character, it is case sensitive.
Okay.
Clear? Any other
Yes.
question from anyone?
The glob is
Uh,
used for which thing?
for binary data, let's say if you want to store the entire document or a crypto class or anything, I mean,
Mhm. Okay.
let's say if you are getting a entire document using a web service, right? So where will you store? So you just need to store it either binary. So binary we don't have as a data type here in Salesforce, so we have to use blob, and it is actually pointing to our binary data storage,
Oh. Mm.
or an attachment, or anything that you want, any bigger string kind of thing.
Okay.
Because if you will store it in a string, it can increase the heap size limit. Anything else, anyone? Guys, I'm expecting a lot of questions from you all, because this is a new thing, and just do practice and ask question if you have any, so that you I will feel like you guys are understanding the topic, and let me know if you are not, right? Thank you so much for today class. We'll connect again on probably on Saturday. Thank you so much everyone. Thanks, bye.
Thank you.